Good day, my name is Crescendo McBride. I am the coordinator of African Canadian Education Services here for the Valley Board. I'm very humbled to have that position and very proud to have that position. Today we'll be talking a little bit about what we do here with our finances and with our supports for our students and for our staff. And as far as the bio, my name's Crescendo. Yeah, I just try to work really hard. Iwa Peli and having integrity is really important to me. Many of you know me. Yeah, it's about getting on, getting on. So thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm honored and excited to be here today. My name is Pat Murphy, and I'm the Director of Programs and Services. And I'm particularly excited to be here with Crescendo, who does and has been working tirelessly for a lot of years. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's a long road, and I think that work over a long period of time is admirable because it is so tiring and it is so taxing. And so from that point, Crescendo, I'll turn it over to you, and it's great to be here and welcome everybody.
And thank you very much, Patrick. I'm just going to present my screen now, folks. It really does speak volumes to present with the Director of Programs and Services. It really does require the two to kind of come together and everyone coming together to support one another. It is a mindset, it is about supports, and it is about actions and deliberate actions. I can very much say that that has been transpiring here within the Annapolis Valley. No, we're not where I would like us to be, or maybe even the Black community would like us to be. But we have definitely made progress, and we keep moving on. We are in the land of the Black loyalists, and we try and highlight that to our students, their perseverance and dedication. To start this, I created a little bit of a prezi to kind of take us through it. You really should understand that my global budget for the African Canadian Education Services, I use it in a combination, in a collaborative way, using the funds from African Canadian Services branch, my funds from the Annapolis Valley Regional Center for Education, and also funds from outside agencies to kind of make the whole thing happen. So that's what you'll see. Everybody seems to work in a collaborative manner. Our big topics here within AV, I kind of created a newspaper. Our big topics is really, who are we? So we are the Annapolis Valley. We support over 13,000 students with 40 schools. It's important to know that our regional center draws from 6 towns, 3 municipalities, and 9 historical African Nova Scotian communities, and 3 Mi'kmaq communities. Now, those 9 historical African Nova Scotian communities, they could have been more, but presently today, when you look at the map, there is 9, even though the students know about Pine Woods and it's not on the map. ACE, African Canadian Education Services, comprises of a coordinator. We have an African Nova Scotian literacy teacher. We're hoping to hire another one very soon. We have 8 student support workers. We would really like the 9th one through the inclusion report. So if that could be released and hired, that would be great. We have approximately 2,000 employees, with 17 of them self-identified as African descent and members of NSTU and PSANS. We have 529 students who self-identify as African descent. So in regards to goals and hopes and aspirations, really in regards to our students, it's about dedicating to enhancing the learning environment and experiences for our students. It really is about celebrating, promoting Black excellence and racial pride, making sure the students understand who they are and all of their ancestries, and being very proud of that. Empowering kids, giving them their voice to make decisions on things that they would like to do, avenues they would like to go down, empowering them to be advocates for themselves and for their communities. Our goal is to work with our families and our students and our communities through a collaborative lens of education, calling out, having meetings, having fundraisers together. So I know a lot has been around SACs and looking who sits on SACs, making sure that everybody's represented. Our hope and our aspirations to provide an environment that's responsive to the students' identities, interests, and experiences, and to value and support African Nova Scotian educational endeavors, professional learnings, and Afrocentric education. So this is kind of how we see ourselves. It is about anti-Black racism. It is about CRP. It really is about getting our kids through the door and providing the best opportunities for them. And creating a bit of a hierarchy, one on top of the other. That really is what we're looking at here within the Annapolis Valley. The barriers are the barriers. The barriers haven't changed a lot. They have, but they haven't. We still need African descent teachers. We have 2,000 employees. We represent less than 1%. Administrators, well, you're looking at them. Sheldon States is another administrator. He's also a resource teacher. So one full principal would be very nice. That barrier needs to be supported, yes, through AV, but also through our department and just Nova Scotia. There's a limited understanding of anti-racism education and CRP. That's a problem. If you think that CRP is anti-racism education, it's not going to work very well for your designing your instructional practices or even your relationship building with kids. The racism that our kids and students and grown-ups here within our schools and our communities, that's a barrier. People don't feel good about themselves. They don't think that they can achieve, and I think the student said it best to me the other day. Crescendo, what happens when your cup is full? It's about to overflow. What do you do? So we talk about that a little bit. We have limited educational opportunities for our Black students, really in regards to academic courses. Our Black Caucus has also highlighted limited resources in the P-9 learning resources. And a barrier has been a lack of confidence and engagement with our and trust with our African descent students and families. That really does come from the Student Support Worker program, and thank goodness for that avenue. With the student support workers working together with the schools, the guidance counselors, the principals, there might still be some uneasiness, but it's better when there's a face that they know and that trust can begin to work. So those are some of our barriers. I hope it's not surprising to anyone or to any region. Speaking of student support workers, what a great bunch of folks I have. I cannot speak highly enough about them. We have 8 student support workers. I will say again, please, we really need 9. We really need like 20 of them. But our student support workers here, on average, they offer services to about 3 schools. We have some student support workers running with 4 and 5 schools, and we have a couple running with only 2 schools that they offer service to. They are cultural mentors, they're role models. That first image at the top, they created that during COVID. It was a postcard that they sent out to the students at the start of the school year. And on the back, they wrote a very nice little note to all of their students. They hand signed them and delivered them to the students that way. It was a really nice way to kind of bring them back to school. The logo, that's newly designed. Newly, maybe a couple years, but newly designed, and it's actually designed by one of our graduate student support workers. He has gone on to be a graphic designer. We always try to pull back some of our students and work with them if they're graphic designers, coaches, whatever the case may be. How can we tap into them? Many of these students that graduate through the Student Support Worker program offer their services back at no cost because they're given back. I said many, not all. We still get payment for some. But this particular graphic designer did some concept maps. We showed them to the student support workers, and they picked it. They liked it because of the Afrocentric colors. They liked it how we were all coming together and holding hands, and they just felt that that was representative of them. We went through that with our rebranding of who we are. We did a bit of an evaluation of the program and how it's working. The bottom photo is there. That is a clearer picture of the student support workers, but on that particular day, we were making a student support worker poster. So knowing them as they are known, and really this has gone over years. This year we'll be making student leadership posters at elementary, middle, and high school. That's in the works now. It was a springboard from the student support worker poster, with everybody talking about, I don't understand their role, what do they do, who are they? So we made a poster. And in that poster, they talked about their home community. They had an opportunity to pick out an Afrocentric proverb. They had an opportunity to express their vision for their program. So it's a very nice poster, and at the top of the poster was that bottom image. And we had one person that day absent. So yeah, so it came out quite nice. They are amazing people. This is just some of the things that they do. It's definitely not all of them. We have a student support worker Google Drive that they drop images into. I've kind of gone in and taken some of those. Most are recent, but there are some from days gone by. Student support worker program impacts all of our students. Yes, our African descent kids, but all of our students, a lot of stuff the kids do are in regards to art, creativity, tessellations, patterns, symmetry, relating back to numeracy. One of our student support workers, and it's the one that works at the elementary level, every year, not in February, but every year she highlights quilt making. She has made a quilt with a school down there, but she really likes talking to students about the secret code and the patterns and some of those images of the log cabin, shoe fly, and what they mean and what that code meant. So she does that. SSWs work with classrooms, and like I said, and students, they're always very proud to put those creative pieces together, highlighting Viola Desmond. The SSW would then go into the classroom and talk about Viola. These students highlighted Black Lives Matter. That particular poster is actually, some of the images in there are them. They put that together and it hangs outside of the student support worker's office. So it's Black Lives Matter, but it's Black Lives Matter like what they're doing, those kids, and everything else. The funds we receive, the travel, the experience, COVID has really slowed us down. Our kids really like coming together. We are the Annapolis Valley, and we go from Mount Uniacke down to Bear River, right down the corridor of the Appalachian Mountains. And saying that, we have students, African descent students, spread that way. So our regional trips that we take, this one was to the Trade Center, the construction center in Halifax and Dartmouth. That's the big center where you can go and you can try out all the different trades. This was actually a female's trip that we took down there in junior high. We try and get them early so then they know what math or whatever they need to take. That's actually the auto body painting section. Excavating type of thing, women doing that. The girls loved it. Non-traditional sports for African descent folks. What? You ski, you snowboard? Yes, we do. The kids love going to Martok. That's our little ski hill there. And they love going down, and that's an old picture. We have not done that this year. You can notice they don't have masks on, but they really enjoy skiing. Might even try and go with our director one day. Also down to Halifax, we work with DNR. Department of Natural, D&D, Department of Natural Defense. This is the fire folks down in Halifax. They do a great job taking grade 9 to 10 students down there, showing them what they do, talking about career options. Yes, the kids get dressed up and put out fires and push stuff over, and everybody has a great time. And then we have some folks that go and volunteer as fire people or look into that profession. So really good experience. Our PD for SSWs, we usually go to the Afrocentric conference. A couple years ago, we got to meet Mr. Dyson. Everybody went to take a picture of him. I know Africville's not in our community, but the students and student support workers, they do murals within our schools, highlighting African Nova Scotian communities. Africville's not in our community, but we have many students that are connected to that community. Within the student support worker program, they started something called the Youth Talent Night Show. Started many years ago at KCA, our old KCA elementary school. It has expanded now to being at Horton High School every year. The auditorium is usually packed. And the talent show is just that. It's an opportunity for students in the student support worker program to showcase their talent. So we've seen juggling, we've seen oral recitation, we've seen piano playing, violin, we've seen cheerleaders, we've seen, oh my goodness, their talents are just multiple things. So it's really good. The students take it very seriously. It is their performance. Shoulder to Shoulder usually plays at the backdrop for the students. It's a great evening. From the youth talent show, we've developed something called the Soul Gala to highlight Afrocentricity within our schools. It is through the student support worker program. The Soul Gala is for the big people, the big kids. We do bring in our top acts from our youth talent show to highlight that, but it's also education for our schools and community. And it's also a way for us to acknowledge what our schools are doing in regard to supporting Afrocentricity. Back in the day, way long ago, they would have called it Rally in the Valley. We have changed that name to the Soul Gala. We did not have it this year because of COVID, and we're trying to figure out how you have a gala virtually. Youth talent show, these are African descent students out of West Hants or cheerleaders. That was one of the acts one night. This is our Elvis Franco. I don't know if you've heard of the African descent resident or doctor that was playing the piano in the hospital at the beginning of COVID. Well, this young person, she plays the piano in one of our high schools. At her lunch hour, she goes down and she plays, and it's very nice. It's been a joy. These are our Numinous drummers. Numinous drummers came about. Drumming is sound, drumming is science, drumming is pattern and numbers and numeracy. Drumming is getting a lot of energy out. These folks here, they have created the Numinous drummers. They go into our schools, prior to COVID, go into our schools, and they talk about Africa. They talk about African descent drumming. They talk about their African Nova Scotian communities. They will explain those shirts to you. They have performed at our municipalities, some of our town openings. They're a great group of students. We have an EA in there. Dr. Bishop started the group out with Mr. Parker to get the kids all working together collaboratively and taking a little pride in what they do. So it's a great group. And they love doing their gigs. We just have to make sure that they also are in class. This young person here has just recently received a scholarship. She's one of our students out of Annapolis West. She just received $500 to a STEM program. It's the SHAD program. I don't really know what those acronyms are. I'm trying to look into that, but we're very proud of her. And our student support worker helped her with that. Michael Dyson again, and our student support workers. Our student support workers, we try and ensure that within our schools, they are highlighted. At this particular school, every staff member has something on their door. When I say every staff member, I am talking NSTU. Well, we want to also make sure that our support staff, if they have offices in those schools, they're supported also. Mr. Johnson put up an African proverb. You can put up anything on the poster, and this is how he represents himself. This is one of our kids that are getting ready for the student leadership poster. Look good, feel good. So it's great we do student leadership posters, but we also teach the kids self-care, how to take care of themselves. Some of our graduates, the Carvery girls, 3 of them, wonderful women. He's not one of ours, but he did come. And we had an opportunity to send some students down to see him in Halifax. And what a great role model and a great piece for them to see. Many of our schools and towns within the valley fly the Pan-African flag. We have ordered our African Nova Scotian flags, and they're coming in. That's one of our teachers that decided during during conference day, when the Afrocentric conference runs, ACES does support some teachers to go to that. If folks don't know, the Afrocentric conference that is held at Cole Harbor is not in the NSTU booklet. So therefore, folks don't know about it. And if they choose to go, then it's on their own dime. And just really looking at fairness and equity. So sometimes our Black Caucus teachers will call out and ask if they cannot be supported to attend that conference. And what a great person to see, Mr. Dyson. Here, this is our middle level transition. So within the Valley Board, yes, we give out Kintes for our grade 12 graduates, but we have a couple of folks that work specifically at the elementary level, which is vitally important, according to the kids and also according to the research. So when those students transition out of their programs, because they only go to grade 5 or grade 8, when those students transition out of their programs and go on to high schools, these elementary SSWs, there's no Kinte to give. It's just like, see you later. And they just didn't think that was right. So we developed and designed a couple years ago SSW backpacks for those middle level kids going on. They are presented and they have a celebration, just like the Kintes the kids receive in grade 12. The middle level backpack ones, it's more talking about the Kinte, and the SSW usually put some type of self-care, this kit for her or this kit for him. They teach them about, yes, our hair, what to put in it. They might have a little brush in it. Just getting them ready for that high school experience. And then they carry them proudly in high school also. This is an old Kinte, but all of our SSWs, they attend the grade 12s, they attend graduation, and at graduations, they wear their Kintes, just like the students. We've had new ones printed up with our new regional center logo on it and SSW. The SSWs have gone so far now that they're requesting Kintes, the students are anyway, for photo day. No, they can't have them, but they just want to have them on with their image. That didn't come out very good for that coloring. So it really is about literacy. When we talk about the impact on learning, so yeah, we do all of these activities and that's all wonderful. But what's it all about? It is all about literacy, numeracy, and well-being. We have continually seen increased graduation rates here for African descent students. Back in the early 90s, it was not a positive experience, but now it's probably 25 to 32 graduates on average we graduate. Impact on learning is student and family engagement. That picture to the right top are some elders from Middleton. Our student support workers and students have worked together to interact with these folks. These elders have gone into our schools to talk about their school experience and to interact with our African descent kids. It's about the impact on learning is about confidence, racial pride. It's about a safe space. I cannot state enough. Thank you, Marlene, for in that document of the call of Black, the value of Black voices about safe space. SSWs truly require a dedicated space in our schools so that they can meet with their students and their kids. I know that we are tight, but really, these shared spaces and kids, the kids when the SSWs aren't there, that's still their space and that's how they see it, right? And when we just kind of say anybody can go in there, it hurts, not doing well. Impact on learning SSWs, really course selection. They really work with the students to identify their interests and their academics, pushing the academics. The impact has been mentorship programs of leadership. I told you about the New Minus Drummers. At the Youth Talent Night and our Regional Heritage Fair, we also have student leaders that help with taking tickets, seating people, the Heritage Fair, making sure that little kids don't get lost at NSCC. All of these grade 10 to 12 students, the younger ones truly look up to them. And then they look to be in that leadership role again. So it's wonderful. And the impact on learning has been our community involvement and engagement with the youth. I will say that specifically about the SSW program. So those are some SSWs. We made a bit of a film. We made a Google map, and on that Google map, we're putting 360 videos. And as you hovered over the towns, you would see images like this, the people of Middleton. Um, One of those women in there on the far right that I'm next to that's sitting down, she graduated from our high school when she was 99 years old. And that's Miss Hazel Johnson there. She's a wonderful individual. They all are. The Jacksons from Inglewood. Yeah, they're all wonderful people. Great experiences. And the kids really enjoy interacting with them. Impact on learning is about graduation. It's about teamwork, collaboration, us coming together as folks. That top picture there is Tristan Sampson, our student support worker. Those students made Remembrance Day celebration presentation to their high school. So that's SSWs. As far as other funding that we have, it really is folks standing up. Annapolis Valley has been very, it has been very bold. It has taken a risk. It is dreaming big, and we are trying to stay humble. In saying all of that, that really is what our Black Caucus and our Afrocentric cohort is. It really is because of one person, and we just keep building one on top of the other. So I remember our schools all shut down and videos, and everybody was watching Barack's very first inauguration. And it really is because someone stood up, when it was not popular. They took bold steps. So because of Barack, yes, we have Kamala. The shadow is Ruby Bridges. Because of Ruby Bridges, honestly, we have Kamala and we have Barack. Within Annapolis Valley, back in 2018, we started our very first Black Caucus. We just continued to grow. The Black Caucus has made recommendations in regards to early literacy, P to 3 resources that are needed within our schools. They did go forth, evaluate them, and we put them out to our schools. They also looked at lesson plans in regards to Afrocentricity for our schools. That was really positive. The lesson plans came from the Melissa Fells t-shirt about Black loyalists. And what they ended up doing is the lead team actually made the lesson plans, and the Black Caucus looked at it through the lens of Afrocentricity and truth, just making that connection that way. So that was really quite powerful. Those lesson plans are still out there. Most of these folks, we do have one or two folks that really don't like lesson plans or writing curriculum. However, what they do is they offer their talents in the sense that they're artists, and they'll go into our schools and they paint Afrocentric murals. It may be of an African Nova Scotian community, it may be of an African descent person, but that's Mr. Stefan Cran there, one of our art teachers. And he also does this with students, African descent students, and just students from his high school, going into other schools, painting murals on the wall. This is our Afrocentric cohort here. She's not part of us, so I'm gonna stop that. Whoa. Oh, I hate when this stuff happens. Whoa, we don't want that. So really, folks, what I wanted to show you about that particular presentation, it was an Afrocentric cohort. That was one of their very first assignments. They all received little boards, and it was an expression, how they saw themselves and what they wanted folks to know about themselves. They all still have their little pegboards, and they do use them in class all the time. But we got to some interesting concepts and understandings in regards to quotes, and really how the kids saw themselves and wanted others to see them. In regards to our Afrocentric cohort, yes, we created information about what the cohort is and who it involved at Horton High School. We highlighted the courses. We've been talking a lot about the cohort here within Annapolis Valley. It is a very positive thing. It's having very positive impact in regards to quantitative academic grades and also just qualitative comments from the students, the guardians, and the teachers. We do need to make sure we develop a bit of a framework so that it's just not a catch-all of this is what we do. You call some parents and you get an Afrocentric cohort. So now I'm at the stage of, yes, trying to develop a framework of truly what an Afrocentric cohort is and who are all the players in that. This particular group, we did the flyer, we made FAQs. Really, the FAQs and different stuff was made more for our staff and folks that were not African descent, just so that they understood. You should probably also know that many of the kids in my Afrocentric, I guess it's better to say, the students that are in the Afrocentric cohort, I think there's one that have guardians such as myself. Both of my guardians are African descent. I think there's only one like that. So these parents are very proud that their students are in it. They're very proud about their marks. They didn't necessarily need the FAQs, but it did help them to explain it to others around them as to why they were placing their students in this. One thing I wanted to highlight with the cohort is that we have been working, it won't say. The students wrote their own grant for technology. They work with tunnel vision, community mentors that way. Yeah, they really have done a lot. We've done a turkey drop and taken the families out, taken the staff out to each individual student's family to meet them. That's where we heard comments of, oh, this is just wonderful. Some of our parents really didn't like the virtual parent teacher. So going out right before Thanksgiving and meeting them and talking to them and, as a team about their student was very positive. Didn't take that long. And our last piece here is that we have the African Nova Scotian Literacy Numeracy program. What I wanted to highlight to you was that this particular, nope, I don't want to do that yet. The African Nova Scotian Literacy program, we have one of them presently. We're looking to hire a second one. That person, since the start of school until just recently February, was placed at Aldershot Elementary School. At Aldershot Elementary School, she worked with the students there primarily in regards to literacy. Very positive. Made a lot of good connections with ELA teachers. Sometimes ELA teachers didn't understand or realize that a student could do certain things. So that collaborative working relationship between Kathy Ann and that teacher was really positive to showcase the strengths of the students. Kathy Ann in that program at Aldershot worked with the students to create what that little image is. It's called a Kuja Chugalia bag. And the Kuja Chugalia bag is that she wanted to know how to promote literacy within the family, right? So, Crescenda, I have 3 students from the McBride family all at this school. 1 in grade 2, 1 in grade 5, and 1 in grade 3. Like, oh my goodness. I would like to develop some type of bags about reading and send them home. So we looked at various books. We have a book list now, and she works with the student support worker who is still at that school. The Kuja Chugalia bags are reading bags with various learning resources in it. all African descent or by an African descent author. The students take them home in 2-week blocks. They have an opportunity to read the book. There's also some journal writing to comment on what they did and what they liked or what they didn't like. These bags are out. I think there's 32 of them out at our families. Then they come back in 2 weeks periods. At the school, there's a bit of a chart, and a student can pick out another book that they would like. Tristan and Kathy Ann work to update the bags, and then they go back out. So it's just about doing a little bit more reading and interaction and leadership at home. So determined to read is what she called the bags, Kuja Chugalia bags. So that's really a positive from that program. Right now, she is at EMS, working with middle school students. Her focus is primarily right now numeracy. However, if a student is quite strong in numeracy and needs some ELA or English literacy scaffolding, then that's what she'll do with them. This last little bit, I will not show you the whole thing, but this is the end of her time at Aldershot Elementary. The students there made a film. They researched Berry Gordy. They did public speaking. We have not showed it to them yet, so we're going to have a bit of a release for them at their school and for their parents that way, virtually.
Picture this. A beautiful city full of green space, culture, and stunning architecture. A city with parks, wide boulevards, and skyscrapers that touch the clouds. A city where people could go to the opera, the symphony, the grand ballet, or even an art museum for fun.
These are many other reasons why 20th century Detroit was known as Paris of the West. Decades later, a young man had a vision. He realized how special this great city really was, and recognized something else. Once upon a time, Motown was born.
Hey Dad, are you busy?
No, son, just reading the paper.
I've been working on this new one for a while now. I'm ready for a change. I want to follow my dreams, but I need a little help.
Tell me more.
I don't want to produce cars anymore.
What? That's such a good job. You have a family to think about.
I know, but I want to use music groups and solo artists. Imagine you can walk in one door off the street and unknown and come in another, a polished performer.
Well, you've written a few songs yourself. I think it's smart to turn your passion into a profession.
Well, thank you, Dad. I agree, but you see, I need some help. I want to open up a recording studio, but that costs money that I don't have.
I'll be right back.
I can't wait to discover new talent. To see names and lights and to hear my music. My sound all over the radio.
What do I call it?
Mo Blue? Nah. Motor City?
Nah, that's corny.
Motor Music?
Nah. Motown. That's it. Motown. That's what I'm gonna call that. That sounds smart, son. There was $800 in that. That's all I have to give you, but that could help you follow your dreams.
Dad, you have no idea I'm gonna pay back every cent and then some.
So that's kind of who they are. It goes on. There's other kids in the production. The kids learn about Mary Wells. They learn about Diana Ross, They learn about Stevie Wonder. Yeah, they just kind of go through the list. The latter group of kids, they perform some of the Jackson 5 pieces, so they're all dressed up and chime into that, and the video closes out. The school had the opportunity to play music throughout, so we have some classroom groups of students joining in at the end of that movie. The production was great. The students get to see themselves, they get to see their names at the end of the credits rolling. So we're really looking forward to that. They had an opportunity to learn about Berry Gordy and where our music kind of started. And most importantly to me, they actually had an opportunity to interact and to work with a Black filmmaker. So some of them couldn't believe it, like, wow, like really? And I can't wait to show them the movie because I think they'll really appreciate it. Folks, that's kind of who we are within the Annapolis Valley. Yes, we've done self-identification blitzes. We didn't this year, but in previous years we have to try and increase our numbers. Right now we're trying to increase our numbers within the Student Support Worker Program. We're probably lagging about 100 kids that are not, that self-ID as African descent, but aren't in the program. They don't have to be, but we just want to check in with them to make sure that they know about the program. One of the barriers I didn't talk about, Annapolis Valley has been wonderful in the sense that, yes, I sit at RLT, but we still have that ceiling happening. They do value, and I do feel valued here. I really do. But there has to be a director of equity of African descent or senior staff advisor. Like, just as the students aren't seeing the principals and the classroom teachers, and the same is true with our Black Caucus. When I talk to those teachers about becoming administrators, it's a foreign, no, I don't want to do that. I understand the whole Pisans, work to rule, and that kind of stuff. It was kind of scary. But really, we do have some really great teachers. If they want to stay teachers, that's wonderful, but I would love to see Black administrators here within the Annapolis Valley. And I would definitely like to see not just valued or acknowledged, but an actual position of African descent at senior management. So, but like I say, we keep moving on, and things have been really positive here. But it is scary if that administration changes. How will the person be treated or supported or not supported? That's what I know. That's who we are. If you have any questions, I'll answer questions. Or Patrick, if you want to, I'm going to stop presenting my screen.
So just reading in the chat, Krishinda, just a couple of things. Thanking you both. Karen mentioned about very informative. Great to hear about the work in Annapolis Valley. And I think, you know, as you've shared, we realize, as you say, that it takes the support, it takes the structure, and your questions around what happens if people change out of those positions. And, you know, and I hear that you have this supportive team around you. And I think, as you both know, the work to continue requires that structure that's necessary. So I appreciate the suggestions that you're offering, and the comment around risk, you know, needing to take that risk. And my thought automatically went to, obviously, you in the work that's being taken up here in the region has been risky, but there are some structures that have been put in place so that it's no longer seen as a risk, right? So you needed to risk, and there's structures now. And my thought goes to what other structures decrease the risk so that it becomes the everyday practice of the ways in which the work happens in your region. Yeah. What else?
Fair enough. I hear you.
Yeah.
Marlene, I really want that inclusion position. I cannot say it enough. I know Patrick's tired of hearing me, but like, folks, really, it's better not to tell us we're going to get something than to tell us and not give it to us. Then I really get it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can give me 2 just to make up for all the laughs. Last time.
Well, let me open it up to see if there's any other questions or comments people want to sort of offer. Krishinda and Pat from Annapolis.
Patrick, I'll let you talk about the cohort in regards to what Maria's been doing, because I didn't really, yeah.
You bet. I'll let people ask for the questions first.
Okay.
This isn't a question, it's Brandy here, and it's just more or less, I really like the idea that you have surrounding the reading bags. So I'm wondering if every, I guess there is a question component now that I'm speaking, is every reading bag identical? Or, because you said you have 32, so, and is it for multiple grade levels? So from P to 6?
So Brandy, we have, my mic's on, yes. Yes, within the African Nova Scotian literacy program, there's Kujachagalia bags determined to read. Those bags really are selected as per family and specific to the students. They can return books and pick out whatever they want to, but it really is their interest. And that classroom, Kathy Ann Johnson really did work with them in regards to that. In our student support worker program, folks are downstairs like right now, waiting on me. They're putting together Kumba bags. Kumba meaning creativity. So I have 2 student support workers. They really felt, you know, the kids need to paint, they need to draw. That same student support worker that does all the tessellations and the quilt making and stuff like that, it's her. So, you know, we want to give them some literacy too. Also, Crescenda, we have some books that highlight African Canadian. It's like a coloring book. So they have P to 3 bags downstairs that they're putting together. In the P to 3 bags, they even have fabric by number. In regards to connecting to numeracy and being creativity, you know, like paint by number. But the paint by number is for P to 2. That's, oh, you don't want to get parents all upset. That was messy. So you can get these plushy things, and they have fabric, and they're all numbered. And you take all your white pieces and you put them all on number 2. It's like fabric by number. It's really cool. The big kids, they have similar bags, but they get paint by number items. They have Tinsy, this dice game. There's dominoes in one of the games, playing cards. So in the student support worker program, they created bags of creativity according to grade level, P to 2 and 3 to 5. And the materials in them are the same. They're putting on the tags and taking pictures so the families know what's in the bags, not just in words, but also in images. Yeah, and then those bags just get replenished as kids need them.
Can I ask where the funding is coming from? Do you have funding from individual schools? Is it coming from the center? Is it coming from the division?
Yes, and yes. I use my global budget in which to support all of it. So yes, that's money from Marlene, that's money from Annapolis Valley, any outside money. Brandy, I also partnered with our coordinator, our programs and services coordinators. I guess we're bag crazy here in the Valley, but she made numeracy bags with various manipulatives. I partnered with her to ensure that all African descent kids, not in the student support worker program, just all African descent kids, P to 5, would receive a numeracy bag that could go home. So it depends on how you want to do it. Partner with other coordinators, beg, like, yeah.
No, kudos to you. It seems like you got it collectively going on, that you're supporting one another, and that's the way it should be. Thanks.
And it's all dollar store stuff, so you know most of it is even bags.
Thank you for that, Brandy. And how are you feeling?
Better. I think getting back to work and being thrown back into the, you know, all of that all at once is good. It revives you. You have no choice, right? You're there, you sink or swim, right? I prefer swim.
Good to hear you're feeling better. Any other comments for Crescenda or Pat? And as you know, we're recording it, so it will be available. We're hoping to put it up on our website for people to learn who haven't had an opportunity.
If I could, Marlene, and I'm looking at the clock, so I had a lot of things I want to say, but Crescenda did a fabulous job. One of the things that Crescenda and I talked about was to avoid a grocery list of all kinds of things. So Crescenda's doing a whole bunch of others, and we're all doing a whole bunch of other things, but we she tried to concentrate on the things that created impact. But what I want to kind of acknowledge is we're proud of the work we're doing here, but we know how long of a distance we still have to travel to close that opportunity gap, and we acknowledge that, and I think that's really important. We want to thank the work that the province is doing and the different regions. We're working together better than I think we ever have. And in our hallway, so in regional office, PNS is a hallway. Crescenda's part of that hallway. She didn't used to be, and in some ways it might have been a loss for African Canadian Education Services, but from my perspective, she's now part of our team, and as a team, we're taking on things that it's the success of all students. So our system improvement plan is all about what you just heard about, and it's not separated and it's not in silos, and we're working really hard to knock those silos down and to share our work all along. And so the work is shared. Crescenda made mention, we did a presentation in the last couple of days to principals, and we talked about who's in Math 10. And Math 10, as you all maybe know, is a very it's a critical point in education, because it's where kind of the road splinters off and the opportunities close if you make different choices. And we talked to our principals about who's in those classes and who isn't in those classes and why they're not in those classes. And there's a whole bunch of things. But we talked to our elementary school, because it's not just a high school thing, it's a P to 12. Yeah. And what we saw in our cohort as an example, and Karen's left, but I want to hats off to her for doing that in Nova Scotia and starting that. Yep. Crescenda came to me, and I was, to be honest, taken aback at first. I was like, what? And she explained it to me, and I got it. It took a while. I'm a little thick. And now I couldn't be more excited, because what we're learning is there's opportunities for those students. 7 of the 11 students were not going into Math 10. They were going to Math at Work and Essentials. They are all now in Math 10, and they are all passing. And some of them are doing fantastic, and some are passing. And quite frankly, I'm happy for all of them, because they're now have a door that's open to them that they wouldn't have had they not entered that door. And what we all gain from that is watching and thinking about that small group of students, and then expanding that knowledge and extrapolating it to say, people, we got to look all the way down the valley about how we can do this and what we can do to make a difference, so that everybody has an opportunity. And I look at the document, was another thing we shared. You want to talk about confluence, everything's coming together. I look at school connectedness in that document that was shared a while ago, and we were talking about that. Well, every one of those pieces apply to our cohort, and every one of those pieces apply to all our students. When we make real connections, when we have high expectations, when we connect with families and make relationships that are authentic, all of those things make such a big difference. The cohort for us is an exciting experiment, because it's demonstrating all of the things we're talking about in real time. If we're wondering, is this just an academic, we're talking about this, it sounds nice, we can point over there and say, look, it's in action over there. And so from a perspective of listening and learning and acting, that's the piece that I think is powerful. I read a tweet, I think it was from Dr. Hawley the other day, about it's great to be talking about anti-racism education, Black Lives Matter, and doing some reading and doing some talking, but without action, it's got nothing. Yep. And so what Crescenda, I think, showed and demonstrated was the impact around action. We're doing a lot of talking. We're doing our book studies. We're doing lots of good things. We got a 21-day challenge here in PNS. I'm proud of that, but we know that that's not what makes the difference. The difference is action. And so Crescenda is doing that, but so is Karen, my student services person, so is Maria, my programs person, so is Mike, and so on and so forth. They're all working together for the same reasons. And so, I could keep going on, but I just am proud of the work that we're doing here, and I'm proud of the work we're doing in the province, and I acknowledge the Valley's racist. So we have to keep working, and we have to keep saying to ourselves, we're not there, we're not even close, but we're trying. And in some days we feel good about what we're doing, so that I'll leave it at that. Could keep going, but thank you, Marlene, for this opportunity, and for everyone to listen. It's a great opportunity to just connect and to share, frankly.
Yeah.